So, first of all, I'll say that this is my first fanfic, and that English isn't my first language, so expect a few errors here and there. Summary: Sharingan Naruto. This is a strong to godlike fanfic, so expect a kick-ass Naruto. It will be mostly canon until last manga chapter, of course adapted to my story, since Minato's father is Madara. It's the reason for Minato's speed I'll explain later. Disclaimer: I do not own Naruto or its characters. Otherwise, Sakura would have died in the wave arc. The jutsu will be in English since I don't want to Google every attack, excluding Rasengan, Kage Bushin, few Katan techniques, Shinra Tensei, and others well known. Reviews are welcomed. Now on with the story. Chapter 1. Legacy. In a remote location, one could only see destruction. As the sun was slowly rising, it showed two men, one standing and one seemingly dead. All around the battlefield were weapons, craters, and apparently a large waterfall, no doubt created by the intensity of the fight. This place would later be known as the Valley of the End. The man that was barely standing had neck-length long black hair, black eyes, and was wearing what appeared to be a worn red armor with plates going around the arms and chest for protection. The man was no other than Hashirama Senju, leader of the Senju clan, and Shodaime Hokage of Konohagakure no Sato, hidden village among the leaves. "Why did it come to this, Madara?" asked Hashirama to himself, overlooking the corpse of his long-term friend. The now-identified man lying on the ground had long, spiky black hair that almost reached his hip, covering the left part of his face, including his left pitch-black eye. He also wore the same armor style. Lying on the ground with a sword impaled in his chest was Uchiha Madara, former leader of the Uchiha clan and co-founder of the Leaf Village. "I'm sorry, but you chose the wrong path. Goodbye, old friend. May you find peace in the afterlife," said Hashirama as he turned to walk away from the long battle he just fought, his head lowered in shame as he couldn't save his friend from his choices. Daku, couple days later. Unknown location. "Oh, my head! Where am I?" asked Madara. Slowly opening his eyes, he immediately shot up and winced from the pain in his chest. Looking around, he found out he was in a small wooden house. From the looks of it, it was a modest-looking house. Small, probably only one person lived there. "Easy there, champ, you got wounded pretty badly," said an unknown female as she approached him. Looking at her, he noticed she had long, smooth blonde hair that reached her waist, blue eyes, and an oval face. She was wearing a brown shirt that easily showed her C-cup breasts and dark blue pants. All in all, standing in front of him was a beautiful young woman smiling at him. "Who are you? Where am I?" asked Madara, being a bit weary to the female, even though he was still weak from the fight. "Well, my name is Namikaze Hanako, and as to where you are, we are in rice field country near the ocean," said Hanako, featuring a small smile that didn't go unnoticed by Madara. "What happened? How did I get here?" asked an impatient Madara, trying to find out what happened since his memory was a bit fuzzy. "So many questions, just lie down and relax. You got injured in your last fight and barely made it. You are lucky that I found you and brought here and healed you. There were times I didn't think you would pull trough, after all. Not many people survive getting a sword through their chest. Now how about you tell me who you are?" asked Hanako, taking in account that the man was probably a shinobi. "I am the great Uchiha Madara, former leader of the Uchiha clan, co-founder of the Leaf Village," said Madara, with a pride in being a member of the Uchiha clan. "A bit full of ourselves, aren't we?" said Hanako, giggling at Madara and getting a glare from him. "Are you a shinobi?" asked Hanako with caution, not knowing yet if he could be trusted. "Indeed I am. I am one of the most powerful shinobi in the world, known only to be matched in power by Hashirama Senju, the current Shodaime Hokage of the Leaf," said Madara, spitting the last word with venom. He still hated the Leaf and his clan from not following his leadership and abandoning him to follow a Senju of all people. "You still got your ass handed to you," said Hanako, chuckling and going full-blown laughter as Madara was glaring at her and murmuring something about disrespectful and troublesome blondes. Maybe Madara was related to the Naras. Well, I am going out for some food. Get some rest. It will take a couple months to get you back to full health, said Hanako as Madara was laying back in the bed, remembering his loss to Hashirama, but chuckling darkly as he remembered that he got what he was going for. Baranim 5 years later. Rice field country. Many would have thought that Uchiha Madara was a cold person incapable of love or caring about another person other than himself. However, this couldn't be far from the truth. In the last 5 years, a lot has changed. And although Madara wouldn't admit it, he has grown very close to Hanako, actually treating her like his wife, and even abandoning his plans for revenge against his fellow clan members. Maybe this is the peace I always chased, thought Madara, as he watched the love of his life with her head on his chest. In past years, he adopted the life of fisherman along with Hanako, and left behind all the fights and wars he once fought. Hanako also got to know about Madara and his clan and village that he created along his long-life rival and friend Hashirama. She got to know about the life of a shinobi and Madara's Kekkei Genkai, the Sharingan. Who would have thought that the great Uchiha Madara would simply live a simple civilian life away from battles? Ironic, as I always wished to die in the heat of battle at the hands of a powerful enemy, said Madara, as he chuckled, as he almost died at the hands of Hashirama. If leaving the shinobi life is what it takes to be and make Hanako happy, I will gladly forget about my past and focus in the future, thought Madara, as he drifted off to sleep, embracing the warmth of her lover. Another 5 years later. Ricefield country. Another 5 years have passed, and now we could see a happy Madara leaning against a tree, embracing Hanako in his chest. Both glancing at the sea, they could see a 4-year-old kid trying to stand in the water. He had spiky blonde hair and bluest eyes anyone had ever seen. His name was Namikaze Minato, son of Uchiha Madara and Namikaze Hanako. Seeing their son trying and failing to stand in the water, both parents sighed, feeling happy about having a wonderful child and a wonderful partner that loved the other. Although Madara had abandoned his shinobi ways, he decided to train young Minato to defend himself should the need ever arise. Madara also explained him that he decided to give him her mother's name because the Uchiha were known and feared all over the world. He also explained him and showed him his Sharingan, saying that one day he would also wield it and that he should be proud of his heritage. A few weeks later, Madara was currently heading home after going into the town to buy groceries. In the way home, he felt a burst of chakra in the direction of his house. Even though Madara had abandoned being a shinobi, he still kept most of his skills sharp, never knowing when you might need them. Quickly rushing through the woods, his house came into a view, and he saw a bleeding Hanako and young Minato trying to hold off a couple of rogue Ami shinobi. Without hesitation, he quickly disappeared in a burst of speed and stopped just in time to block a sword that would have killed his only son, activating the Sharingan. He just glared at the 4 shinobi in front of them. By the looks of them, they were merely Chunin level. The Ami shinobi. Seeing the Sharingan glowing in all its power, the leader of group asked, "Who are you?" stuttering after seeing the Sharingan. The shinobi knew too well the power of that Kekkei Genkai and its clan members. "I am Madara, Uchiha Madara," said Madara, as wind blew the hair on his back, giving him an aura of power that intimidated even the most powerful enemies. After hearing the name, the Ami shinobi paled and took a couple of steps back at seeing that man in front of them, the legendary Uchiha Madara, former leader of the Uchiha clan. Without hesitation, Madara activated his Susanoo and quickly killed the 4 Ami shinobi, without remorse. Looking back, he saw that Minato was passed out from chakra exhaustion. Approaching his lover, he looked at her eyes, and his heart filled with remorse for not being there, not being able to protect the one person that mattered the most in his world, the love of his life. "To take, care of our Sai son," said a weak Hanako, giving one last kiss to her lover. She closed her eyes, never to open them again. Madara just stood there frozen, looking at his now dead wife. In his mind, he was getting flashes of the last 10 years of his life. In the last years, all he got was happiness, only to get that stolen from him. Taking one last look at his Hanako, he made a decision that would influence all entire world. I was too naive to think this would last. Too naive to believe the world had changed. Too naive, leave my plans behind. I will lead the world to true peace and happiness. I will honor your memory, Hanako. I will create a world made of love and happiness, and I will make sure that you will stand by my side. Fool, thought Madara, as he picked his son and jumped into the woods, leaving behind his former home. A month later, Madara and Minato were standing a few miles outside the main gates of Konoha, as Madara looked one final time to Minato. "Minato, my son," said Madara, getting Minato's attention. In the last month, Madara trained Minato to the ground, bent on getting his son as strong as possible so he could keep himself safe. During this month of training, Minato had activated his Sharingan, quite a feat for someone so young. Remember, keep the Uchiha name and bloodline a secret from the village, but never forget your legacy. Even though I dislike the Senju, this village will keep you safe and strong. Never abandon your beliefs and fight for what you hold dear. Only when fighting to protect someone precious to you will you show your true strength. I am sorry to leave alone, but his is something I must do alone. Speak to the Sandaime Hokage and tell him you are an orphan and wish to join Konoha. He will keep you safe. There may come a time when we will fight each other. Until then, good luck, said Madara, as he started to walk away, leaving his son to a new path. Well, I guess this is it, said Minato as he walked through the main gates of Konoha and said to himself, I will make you proud, Tusan, and I will honor your memory, Ka-san. But 20 years later, undisclosed location, outside of Konoha. Thought out the entire room and scream echoed. This scream seemed to belong to a young baby. The baby weighed 3 kilograms and had spiky blonde hair and pair of dark blue eyes. Pretty much a carbon copy of his father, Minato Namikaze. Congratulations, Kushina-san, it's a beautiful boy, said the nurse as she handed the newborn baby to her mother. The woman in the bed could only be described as a redhead beauty, with long, smooth, crimson-red hair going all the way to her waist. Blue eyes and ample D-cup breasts adorned her well-developed body. She embraced her son for the first time. Hello, Sochi, said Kushina. Minato turned to his son and said, Welcome to our family, Naruto. Chapter 2. Birth of a Legend. Previously. Hello, Sochi, said Kushina. Minato turned to his son and said, Welcome to our family, Naruto. Current time, undisclosed location, outside of Konoha. Rest, Kushina, you will have plenty of time, said a Biwako as she picked up Naruto for his first bath. Biwako is a woman with 170 centimeters, long brown hair trapped in a ponytail with brown eyes. She is around 50 years old and is the wife of Sarutobi Hiruzen, the Sandaime Hokage, the previous leader of Konoha. How are you feeling, Kushina? Asked Minato, concerned with her loving wife. Just tired, she replied. Thank you, he said, when suddenly a voice unknown to both Minato and Kushina echoed through the room. Step away from the Jinchuriki Yondeimi, the masked man said as he held Naruto hostage with a kunai at his neck. Biwako and the nurse lay dead in the floor. Okay, just calm down, said Minato, frightened. Concern evident in his eyes. Speak for yourself, Yondaime. I am perfectly calm, masked man said as he threw Naruto in the air, preparing to stab with the kunai. Suddenly, in a yellow flash, Minato grabbed Naruto as the masked man made his way towards Kushina. Buzzing was heard as Minato realizes 5 explosive tags placed in the blanket around Minato. In a burst of speed, Minato removes the blanket and teleports to his safe house. Shakafur. Minato's safe house, outside of Konoha. An explosion occurred as Minato is blasted away with his son in his arms. That man is no ordinary shinobi, said Minato, wondering just who the masked man is. He managed to separate me from Kushina. Teleporting to the Namikaze compound. Minato places his son on the bed, whispering, Rest now, Naruto. I am going to save your mother. I will be back. Undisclosed location, outside of Konoha. The masked man approached Kushina and warped away to outside the house. Placing his head on her stomach, he begins extracting the Kyuubi. In a couple of minutes, a figure is seen erupting from her stomach and materializing in the air. There stood the nine-tailed demon fox, in all its glory, with 9 tails swinging. With a glimpse, the masked man traps the Kyuubi under its control. The once red slitted eyes of the Kyuubi are now red with 3 black tomos, the Sharingan glowing in all its power. "Wait," said a weak Kushina, realizing what was about to happen. "Incredible? The Uzumaki clan is simply incredible. Not even extracting a tailed beast from you is enough to kill you," said the masked man as he commanded the Kyuubi to kill his former Jinchuriki. "It's only fitting that the Kyuubi kills its container," he said. As the Kyuubi is about to crush Kushina, a yellow flash is seen. Standing in a tree not far away, we see Minato with Kushina in his arms, bridal style. "He really lives up to his name, Minato Namikaze Konoha's Yellow Flash," he says, warping to the edge of the village. Minato flashed to the Namikaze compound, laying Kushina near her son as she embraces him. "Kushina, I going to stop the Kyuubi?" "Take care of him," he said, and in a yellow flash is gone. North entrance of Konoha. It was a warm, calm summer night in the hidden village of the Leaf. Lights were seen all around the village as the people followed their lives unaware of what was about to happen. "Kuchiyose, no jutsu. Summoning jutsu," the masked man said, slapping his palm on the ground and his burst of smoke there. It stood the Kyuubi, ready to unleash its fury upon the unsuspecting village. Suddenly a roar is heard as the Kyuubi starts its destruction. Swinging its tails and using its paws, nothing stood in his way. "Sandaime, the Kyuubi has appeared in the north part of the village," said an Anbu as he bowed to the Sandaime Hokage. "Yes, I heard it. Summon the forces and evacuate the civilians. He must push the Kyuubi out of the village and wait for the 4th, said the Sandaime. Minato Namikaze is seen standing in the top of the Hokage monument ready to go face the Kyuubi when he senses a presence behind him. Quickly ducking and turning around, he swings a kunai only to phase through the head of his enemy. Suddenly, everything begins to become distorted as the masked man starts to absorb in a ripple-like pattern Minato. Before it's finished, Minato disappears. He flashed away to his safe house. The safe house. After Minato escaped masked man, Ikao. That technique, Minato said, pondering what he just experienced. It's a space-time technique more advanced than my own. It happens it doesn't require seals, or I would have seen them with my Sharingan. It is best if hide my Sharingan under a genjutsu. I don't know who he is, but his chakra signature seems familiar. Suddenly, a figure starts to appear just a few meters away from Minato. There it stood, the masked man preparing to face the legendary Kiroi Senko, Yellow Flash. The men stared at each other, each one daring to make the first move. "Who are you?" asked Minato, as he wondered who could possibly have the power to not only unleash, but also control the Kyuubi. "My name is long forgotten and despised in the history of this village. I was once known as Madara Uchiha, but you can call me Tobi," he replied, chuckling at the irony of asking a masked man who he is. "No, I know for a fact that you are not Madara Uchiha. Although your chakra seems familiar, you are not him," Minato said, trying to find out the masked man's identity. The masked man simply stood there wondering how in the world could the Yondaime know that he isn't Madara. Something here isn't right. How can he know Madara's chakra signature? Tobi thought. Both warriors dashed at each other in a battle for speed. The fastest would win. Minato simply throws his Hirashin, flying thunder god technique, kunai at Tobi as it's phased through his head. Getting closer to each other, preparing for the face-off, Minato charges a Rasengan in his right hand, preparing to slam it into Tobi. Tobi is about to touch Minato, preparing to absorb him. "Victory is mine," he says, and suddenly Minato disappears from his sight, only to appear behind his back using the kunai he previously threw. Minato twists his body, slamming the Rasengan into Toby, vaporizing the area and marking Toby with Hirashin's seal. I underestimated him, Toby says, when suddenly Minato appears in front of him, stabbing him with a kunai and applying a contract remove seal to free the Kyuubi. Toby, seeing that he lost this battle, says, I will be back, and I will get my revenge on the Leaf Village, as he warps away. Something tells me he wasn't joking, and he's a Uchiha with a chakra signature similar to my father's. I wonder who he is, thought Minato, as he gets up, getting ready to stop the Kyuubi flashing to the battlefield. Wadinbjerger Battlefield, Konoha, northern part of the village. In the battlefield stood the Sandaime leading the forces, trying his best to push the Kyuubi away from the village when suddenly he ears. Kuchiyose no Jutsu, Minato says as he drops on top with Kyuubi, with his summon Gamabunta de Toad Boss pinning the Kyuubi into the ground. Try and hold him down as long as you can. Teleporting something this big requires preparation, he says to the Toad Boss, as Minato prepares to teleport the Kyuubi away from the village. Are you crazy? I am not a miracle worker. Hurry, Gamabunta says. Suddenly both Minato and Kyuubi disappear, near the safe house. Arriving near the safe house with the Kyuubi on its toll, Minato is panting from the massive chakra usage he just pulled to teleport the Kyuubi. Yondaime, quick, you must seal me. I can still feel that damn Uchiha pushing me. I refuse to be controlled, says the Kyuubi, much to Minato's surprise. He wants me to seal him? Thought Minato as he teleported to the safe house, picking up Kushina and Naruto for the ritual. Kushina, I need your help to restrain him. He's still being pushed, he says, as Kushina gathers the remains of her chakra to form chains to snare the Kyuubi to the ground. Minato starts performing a long chain of seals, and at the end he shouts, Shiki Fujin, dead demon consuming seal. Yondaime, get out of the way, the Kyuubi shouts, as it feels being driven to kill his next vessel. However, both Minato and Kushina jump in front of his claw, protecting their son. Kushina, couch. We don't have much time. Any last words? He asks Kushina. Naruto, she starts. I want you to grow into a nice young man and a strong shinobi. Remember to bathe every day and go to bed early. You need your sleep. Also, I want you to make friends. You don't need that many, only a few, as long as they are true friends. Also, no drinking until you are 20 and stay away from Jiraiya. I am sorry, Minato. I took your time. Don't worry. He starts. Kyuubi, can you look out for my son? I know he will have a hard life. He asks. It would be my honor. I will take care of your kit. The Kyuubi replies, wondering just how the hell this night could have happened. Damn, Minato thought. I need to make sure he knows of my father's legacy. I can't let him go to the Uchihas. Not with the Kyuubi in him, but I never told anyone and it's too late now. He starts thinking, when suddenly an idea struck his head. Maybe this will work. Suddenly, Minato gathers what's left of his chakra, pushing it to his eyes as they start spinning, and says in a weak tone, Tsukuyomi. Minato starts waving, his eyes are starting to drift off, and he says, Naruto, listen to what your mother said and grow up to be a strong and brave shinobi. And with the last of his strength he whispers, 8 trigram seal.